don't want everything and want it all. No, you can't take it. No, you can't take it. No, you can't take it away from me. And alcohol, breaking your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. And alcohol, breaking your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. All the people don't want your side. You're going to get what you deserve. All the people don't want your side. You're going to get what you deserve. Somebody's not looking for a cure. Somebody's not concerned about the sick among the pure. Somebody's less thinking on the backs of the praise. Somebody's not want to choose. No, you can't take it. No, you can't take it. No, you can't take it away from me. And alcohol, breaking your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. And alcohol, breaking your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. And alcohol, breaking your soul. I'd rather die than give you control.
Aw,
And
yeah.
alcohol, breaking your soul. I'd rather die than give you control.
Rockin' fucking
All
world!
the people don't want your soul. You're going to get what you deserve. All the people don't want your soul. You're going to get what you deserve. You know who you are.
Fudge, yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're just going to get into it because this is a long video and it's bad. I know it's going to be bad. You just got to take my word for it. This is going to be painful. But the guy is such a dork, right? It's such a cheesy. I hate to use harsh language, but he is such a cheesy fella, guys. Your brains might explode. And I'm figuring out that this guy is single-handedly the reason why Europe hates us. We're going to watch it, guys, and it's not going to be fun. Here we go. It's this guy. Happy New
I have
Year
the
to
great
you guys.
pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Jerry Wills.
Jerry Wills.
He has a very unusual background, something he will go into during his presentations. Like how he came to stay on our planet, and some of the information
Oh, he's not from this world, guys.
given to him
I'm
by
back.
friends from other worlds.
I was there vacationing Richie Milkis.
Jerry is also an accomplished healer, and as you can see from the program, he will also delve into this. He has also made numerous expeditions to South America together with his wife Katie, and during these expeditions have had contact with extraterrestrials. We are all looking forward to hear what he has to say. A great welcome to you, Jerry.
This guy knows what's coming. You can see the look of dread on his face. Oh, Hoagland's a good one. I would do that. Jerry Wills, guys. I guess there's a part 2, but I'm thinking part 1's going to be more than enough. Whoa, that guy's cool. He's an alien. Oh, where's the reveal?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Wills.
Here we go, guys. Definitely a Peter Gazer.
Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about something I think you'll find very interesting. Other people that I've spoken to about this,
I'm laughing because I know how bad this is going to be.
they found it interesting. It has to do with UFOs, contact with extraterrestrials, and a whole number of things that involve people from other worlds coming to this one. Why this happens?
We're going
At
to
least
find out.
what I was told about it.
Oh, I wonder what's in those pouches, guys. I bet it's alien stuff.
And where
Meatloaf.
we as a people on this world are going. What the possibilities are for you.
Wearing his Wranglers, guys. Looking good.
The name of my lecture is called Earthbound.
Oh.
And the reason it's called that is because for me, a long time ago, 1953.
Oh, that was a long time ago, guys. Funky and fresh. That is
I was
true.
deposited
You know, it's easy to get the funky down, but the fresh part and the funky?
in an abandoned house in central Kentucky.
This guy reeks of Kentucky. Now it all makes sense.
I remember just vague images of this.
Becky's from Kentucky.
Within 12 hours, there were officials who came to this place.
Oh.
At the time in the United States,
Yeah,
there
it was Child Protective Services. To take you from your drunk mother.
was no Air Force. Instead, there was an organization within the Army that was called the Army Air Corps.
Oh. The Army guys.
They retrieved me from this place,
What
and
an
they took me to
adventure.
Fort Knox. And there I resided
Why would they take a kid to Fort Knox?
at the hospital, and I don't know for how long. I'm really not sure if it was 1953. It might have been 1952. I just don't know.
I'm glad you filled us in on that. I'm glad you saying you might be a year off. That helps.
Once I was in this hospital, I was taken care of. Because you see, the Army had been given a message that I was going to be placed there.
Okay. Next.
But they got the time wrong. So instead of showing up at the appropriate time, they showed up 12 hours later, and
Oh, shit.
I had frostbite over most of my body. I was not doing very well. So I remained in the hospital for a while.
You got your chili
Eventually,
bumps.
there was a man who was in the armed services, in the Army. He and his wife could not have children. And the reason is because when she was younger, she was playing with something called radium.
Oh, no.
It's radioactive.
She put radium right up her snatch.
And when you get it inside of you,
See?
it destroys your reproductive system.
Nice one, lady. Get radiumed.
So they adopted me. Now, these things that I'm telling you are things that I found out much later in life. Because when I was growing up, I had no idea why things were happening as they were. I had excuse me, I had no idea that this wasn't my mother and father. I didn't look like them.
How could you take this guy seriously? You know what I mean? Just looking at him is enough to say, yeah, whatever, dude. I don't trust anything you say.
I was very different. When I was about 3 years old, something happened and I got very sick.
Are you saying he porked Linda Hamilton? I believe
This time, my family had moved from Fort Knox to Denver, Colorado. And in Denver, Colorado, he was given a job in the government. I became quite ill, and at that time, there were these people who showed up that I remember very vividly. They didn't look normal.
They were Jehovah's Witnesses.
They actually were about 5 foot tall, but they had large heads and black eyes.
Danny DeVito. I knew it.
They were scary.
Maybe he's part dog. He is a space alien.
They seemed to know what they were doing, and so they
covered.
treated me, and I got better very quickly. By the time I was 4 years old, my father and mother would take me to a place in outside of Miami, Florida, into the Everglades. I was told we were going
He looks
there
like an old cheesy guy you would see doing a show at the county fair.
to meet with my Uncle Sam. So every year after this, we would go
Danny DeVito isn't
and
real?
meet with my Uncle Sam. We would go there and ride in a big black car. We would go out across the Everglades. We would get in a boat, and we would go down one of these channels of water. And eventually, there would be these tents. There were soldiers.
Soldier tents.
I was given a stick of gum, and I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was back in the hotel in Miami, and then we would go to the
With a
beach.
sore bunghole.
This continued on for several years, until I was 7.
And that's when the spooky shit
At
started
7 years
happening.
old, my father had a heart attack and died. And my mother moved from Denver back to Kentucky. But before this happened,
Captain Kentucky.
officials came
Officials.
demanding that she give me to them. These officials were wearing
They
black
cored out his
suits.
bunghole roll, Miser.
Some of them had decorations. They were soldiers, high-ranking officials,
High-ranking officials.
and they wanted me.
All night
But
long.
she didn't let them have me. We moved to Kentucky, and that's
Hey, let me take your retarded kid.
No!
where I grew up. From that point forward, life was very different because we grew up really in the woods, away from everyone. And this is where things became much easier in relation to the extraterrestrial contacts. At the time, I didn't know that that was the case, but I learned this to be how it was later on.
I just still think the officials were Child Protective Services, just making sure the mom wasn't still
In
drinking.
Kentucky, there were a lot of UFO sightings. A lot of people were seeing things that they couldn't explain. And
And a lot of ass fucking in Kentucky. A lot of ass fucking.
because of that, there was a lot of fear. And perhaps here in your country, this beautiful Norway, you might have been afraid of the Russians as well. I don't know. But in the United States, there was a very deep, foreboding fear
Especially in
that the
Kentucky.
Russians would come and conquer us, and nuclear bombs and all of these terrible things that we were told. There was a lot
Becky is a UFO.
of fear because no one knew who the people flying the UFOs might be. They had no idea.
It was Hanford.
I was 12 years old, almost 13.
Cool.
And one afternoon, a very, very large craft came out from the trees and presented itself in front of me. It was about a half a mile away, which
Jeez,
would
dude.
be about a kilometer, I think, maybe a little less.
He's very smug. Hey, but if you had a sweet green shirt and some Wranglers, you'd be smug too.
It was so large that it was hard to imagine that something like that could actually move against the wind and just float through the air. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like this. And it sat there above the trees,
Always
and
in
its
the
lights
trees.
gently pulsing over and over.
I believe him.
And in that moment, it gave me an inspiration and I think a message.
It was all about love.
And it was very simple. The message was, we see you. We'll come talk to you soon.
Only him though, because he's special. Live, laugh, love was the message.
You could see the moonlight glinting off of the shiny surface of this. It was massive. The very next summer, I went into the woods as I normally would. I was going to
Yeah,
meet
well, Jitch, you go in pieces.
a friend of mine. He never showed up.
You never had any
Instead,
friends.
there was a man who came and sat down and talked with me, but he was very strangely dressed. In Kentucky, it's very hot, and there's a lot of humidity. And this man was in a one-piece outfit that went
He
right
was
to
in
his
really high Daisy Dukes. He wore Daisy Dukes.
neck, long sleeves, long pants that you couldn't tell where the pants ended and the boots began.
It was
He
a
came up
spacesuit.
and knew me by name. He wanted to talk.
Hey, ass face. Everyone knew him as ass face.
So we had a short discussion. All the while, I had really no idea who he might be or why he would want to talk with me, but he seemed friendly enough, and why not?
It's because you have magic powers.
It was during this conversation that words were no longer used, and it was information that was transferred telepathically between he and I. And we had quite a nice conversation.
Well, this guy don't even
But
care,
then
dude.
he said he had to leave. And he stood up, walked away, and
Took the last 3 cans of Natty Ice,
that was all.
and that was all.
After this, there were these messages that began to show up. Not messages in words, but messages in a sound in my head. It was like Morse code. It was a beeping, whistling sound. And I understood that when I heard this, that I should go and take a look, because every time I heard it before, I would see a disc. You've probably heard of
I have the sound he's talking about. Just that. That's what he heard.
Billy Myers. It was a disc like this.
Oh, it did.
And it was people like that. This disc would come and land back in the back fields, back in the trees. And
Just for this guy.
I was not at first allowed to go close to it. Instead, they would come out and they would come and talk with me. These things
He took the Natty Ice. Can you believe that, JD?
that we would discuss at first were very general. There wasn't a lot of what I would consider to be earth-shattering information or or really, really important things. It was more a discussion, a dialogue between ourselves, what life was like. And, you know, I'm 13 years old.
Greasy Earthling, do you like pizza rolls? That's what they talked about.
I didn't
pizza
really
rolls.
have a lot to say. After the first year, however, things changed.
Uh-oh. This is where it
And
gets good.
when they would show up, then they would bring others with them. And these people would then
Each one had a bigger and bigger penis, ready to be serviced by me.
become my teachers. They had information to share with me. And this information was shared in a very unique and unusual way. You know, when you have a memory stick and you plug it into your computer, how all the information can just be put in there and then suddenly it's in your computer.
Well, he plugged his memory stick into my ass cheeks, and I learned everything.
This is how they would provide information for me.
Through his ass cheeks.
It was as though they put this massive amount of communication directly into my mind. And I had no idea what it was. Just a lot of detail.
It was a Pitfall speed run on the Atari.
It was shortly after
That's
this
what it was.
began that I started developing a very serious headache. It was what you might call a migraine.
Too many sweet guitar licks,
And
dude.
when they showed up, and they were showing up every week, then I told them that this was hurting. I couldn't do this. It was still hurting. It didn't stop. They were quite alarmed, and they wanted to find out why.
And then they gingerly rogered the pain away.
So they took me inside. I sat down in a sort of chair. It wasn't like a chair like you're sitting on now.
It was a space chair.
Laid back, and they somehow took a look to find out what was wrong. I went to sleep, and when I woke up, they told me the problem had been resolved.
He had a beer bottle cap up his nose for some reason. How did that even happen?
You see, the issue was
Forest anal?
my left and right hemispheres needed to be linked together,
Oh, okay.
and that would allow me to access everything that they were doing.
His
After
brains were
that, I
broken.
never had any more headaches. However,
His toilet, that guy was the
at
best.
15 years old, I had a photographic memory,
Not now, though.
and I was hungry for knowledge. And I would read everything.
Every penthouse mailbag thing, whatever, back in the day. He would remember every single one of those.
I could find. Dictionaries, I knew all the words. The encyclopedias, I read through all of them.
No, you didn't. No one believes you read a whole encyclopedia. Look at that stupid face. No one believes that.
It was boring. But I had a vocabulary that would stagger my teachers, and they didn't like it. I started reading
Hustling.
everything that had
Oh.
been written by the greats. For example,
Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss.
everything written by Edgar Allan Poe,
Or Deep.
everything written by Shakespeare. I was studying
I left his share of abandoned, beaten, and battered women around the
music
country.
without the benefit of a music class or a music teacher.
You could already play sweet guitar licks?
Everything. Everything that Einstein had done. Everything from Tesla.
Okay, dude.
All the science and chemistry and mathematics books that I could digest. I was doing fourth year mathematics, college mathematics, in the 8th grade. And then all this information that they had been putting into my mind began
Got
to
slurped out and he's dumb again. That's what's going to happen.
make sense. Now I had a framework because the mathematics was actually the key part of what they had given me. Without mathematics, there wasn't a whole picture. Instead, there were just fragments. But with the mathematics, now
Like I said, I say this every time. I just can't believe that place is packed, dude. That place is packed to hear this idiot, this huckster.
understood.
Hey, let's hear the huckster speak.
When I was 16, and I had amassed all this knowledge, they taught me the history of the universe. At least they're part of it. The universe is quite large.
I'm thinking he learned this stuff, like he thought of this stuff during paint huffing sessions. I could picture silver paint all over this guy's face.
entire history of such a large and
Story
large
doesn't
expansive
have-
place, I suppose would be nearly impossible. But they taught me the history as they knew it. And then they went into sociology, the social structure of different worlds. This world,
Some book queer.
their world, and other worlds that are inhabited by people that
Are
look
you
just
one of
like
them
you
book
and I.
queers?
The geology, the atmospheric conditions,
The anal stretching.
the religion. All of these things seem to be very important for them to teach me. Why?
Well, okay, we got it. There's people came down to see you. We're 20 minutes in. Let's
Not
fucking.
really sure.
What did they teach you?
Maybe it's because they wanted to find out how
that's
much I
right.
could take in before I would explode. But I didn't explode, obviously. And
You
I
kinda
continued
did.
to amass more and more levels of knowledge.
About what?
And then it went into another direction altogether. Some people call it a direction that involves spirituality. Some call it quantum mechanics. Back when I was 16, quantum mechanics was not a term that anyone was familiar with.
So what'd
it
you
hadn't
call
even been invented yet, so far as I know. But it went on to describe the rationale of the universe,
All right,
how
let's hear
things
it.
work, and how we as observers are responsible for the outcome, and how we collectively direct the energies of
Even
the
me in
universe
Hanford?
towards potential solutions or problems, and how either with apathy we allow things to
I
degenerate
just tell everybody I learned everything and no one questions me. It's the greatest job ever.
and go stale, or because we have an active participation in the creation of the next moment together, collectively, that things change. And there were several examples of that, both for this world and for others.
I know everything, trust
To
me.
finish off all of these things that they were teaching me, by the time I was 18 years old,
I was a super genius.
I had been enlisted to play basketball because my stature, I'm 6'9". So they
So
wanted me to
you're
be
a
a
big dumb goof.
basketball star. But I wasn't that interested. I couldn't
Hey,
understand
James Hogan is 6'9".
the concept of the competition, because in the way that they were trying to show me how things work in an organized universe, and then the people who were showing me how I was supposed to play basketball with an enthusiasm to beat the other guy however
16.
badly I could, and then be very happy that I had beat them,
See?
it didn't make sense.
Not only was he really smart, he was a fucking badass, dude.
It seemed illogical. So I was not a very good basketball player. I felt that if you're going to be in competition, it should be competition where everyone wins. Although someone does win, it doesn't have to mean the
Yeah.
denigration of the people who've lost.
We get it, you're a hippie, dude. We understand.
It should serve as a template for them to also be able to win at some other point. That's not how it was seen where I grew up.
If everyone wins, what's the point? Where's my
It was
belt?
beat 'em, live or die, black and white. There were no in-betweens. So I was not a very good basketball player, and I stopped playing.
Were you a
It
professional
was
wrestler?
when I turned 18 that they told me that it was now time for me to go out into the world, to live among the others on this world, to
The others. I am one of you now.
understand
One of you losers.
what it's like to be here. That seemed like an odd way of characterizing a departure from home, but I didn't think anything of it. I was used to the way that they spoke to me. They wanted me to go out and be like everyone else.
Yeah, even though I'm super special and super awesome. Now I gotta pretend to be like one of you jerks.
It's not that easy when you're as tall as I am. But I tried. And as I moved through life for the next several years, I was successful in business, and I did my best to improve myself as best I could.
Oh, you know this guy's good at nunchucks. He learned everything.
But I didn't do a very good job of it. They told me when they left at 18 years old that they would come and see me again in 10 years. Well, that seemed
The only way they can tolerate this guy is in 10 year spurts. Hey, we'll see you in next 10 years.
like a very long time. But at the end of 10 years, they did show up. And in a very unusual way. Once again, the beeping sounds, and then a series of very vivid dreams where I was being shown to go to a place that I had never been before.
A bathroom with running water. This guy's the
I had
worst.
no idea how I was going to get there or even where it was for sure. But events transpired, and I found myself in the deserts of Nevada.
Oh, he was about to go on a sacred journey.
This is an area we now call Area 51.
Always
Dreamland.
Area 51.
But at the time, Area 51 was not generally known, and Dreamland was not even spoken of.
Dreamland.
I arrived in this remote place, an old ghost town,
Real ghosts.
and a series of events took place there that were really quite bizarre and
You
well,
fucked a dog, didn't you? Didn't you?
a bit life-changing for me. You see, we were driving, I was with this other person, and we were
That's a
driving
sexy
back
guy,
from
dude.
Reno.
I totally date him.
That's where I met Brad Steiger. Tim Beckley had a UFO conference. I'd never been to one. I found it fascinating, and so I showed up there.
From Kentucky to Area 51, guys.
And as we are driving back to Phoenix, the car runs out of gas, and we're stuck in this ghost town, and the fellow who's driving coasts into the filling station. In the
Filling station. How old is this guy?
filling station, there is a man who is dressed as though he just came off of a Hollywood movie. He looks like a cowboy with the hat and the boots
We know who he's talking about, don't we?
Aw, yeah.
and the shirt and all of this. And he comes out and says that, after we fill the gas, and George, the fellow who was filling the gas I was riding with, he can't find his wallet. And the fellow tells George, don't worry about
No,
it.
if you say filling station, you can't say wallet. You have to say billfold.
It's at the other town that you stopped in
Dreamland is funnel
several
cake?
hours ago. I'll go get it. You wait here. And so we did. So as we're sitting there waiting, it never occurred to us, how would this man know where we had been, and how would he even know George's wallet? It was as though something was very cloudy in our minds.
It was Aliums.
After about 30 minutes, I got up and started walking through this ghost town. And as I'm moving through the ghost town, I look in a window and I spot something shiny in the window. It turns out to be a crystal ball.
Oh, shit.
I didn't bring it with me to show you.
Oh, yeah, that would have helped, dude. I'm just saying.
Because of airport security, sometimes they mishandle things. It's a very difficult thing to travel with. This crystal
Doc, he did in fact misplace his billfold at the filling station.
ball was sitting in a bowl, and as I walked inside of the building,
A bowl of
this
Hormel chili.
woman walks out who looks like she walked off of a Hollywood movie.
Hey, you already
like
did
someone's
that.
grandmother. Has a nice apron. She has
He means gunt. He doesn't mean like apron. He means gunt.
her hair up in a bun, little glasses, and she walks out and she says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know anyone was here. It looked like a ghost town." She says, No, it's all right. What can I do for you?"
Oh, shit.
And I said, "Well, I noticed the crystal ball in your display case." And she grabbed
So ghost towns have display cases with things in them?
her chest and says, "Oh, my stars, you must be Jerry."
Oh, shit.
And I said, "Yeah." She says, "They told me you were coming."
The
Yes.
aliens.
She pulls the crystal ball out. She puts it down on the counter. And she proceeds to tell me that the people that I had had contact with during my teen years, who said they would be back in 10, had shown up there a couple of days ago and left it there for her to give to me.
Whoa.
And she proceeded to tell me all the story about them and gave
What's
me
great
enough-
about his story is there's no way you could prove it. So that means it's got to be real. a crystal ball in a ghost town with some nameless lady.
information to where there was no doubt that she was talking about the same people. It was quite an extraordinary event for me, because after 10 years your memory fades slightly, and even though it's so relevant and real, you look
Relevant.
back on it as though, oh, do I remember this the way that I thought that I did? You've probably had the same thing.
No, don't bring me into this. You're on your own,
Well,
dude.
she filled in many of the blanks and helped to refresh my mind of all of these events that had taken place. I was astonished.
Remember the forest anal, Jerry?
It was so comprehensive that I decided I should record this. So I had a little pocket recorder.
Finally, some fucking proof.
This was back in the early 80s. Had a little bitty cassette of tape and a little button you push. And so
Here we go, some proof.
I started to record this conversation. She told me it was fine, but that I couldn't record her voice.
Oh.
I could only record my own.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, say goodbye to the proof, guys.
I didn't believe that. Well, as it turns out, I couldn't record her voice. So I put the recorder away.
What a crock of
I
shit.
was rather confused at that point because I know electronics quite well. I don't know how that could happen.
No.
She proceeded to tell me how to use this crystal ball, what it was meant for, and what could be done with it.
You slap your unmentionables against it.
Once all was
I had proof, but it didn't work.
communicated
Seriously,
with me,
guys.
this fellow that had gone somewhere, we don't know where, he shows up in the truck, and he has the wallet.
What?
He gives it to George,
Thanks.
who then pays him for the gas, and we leave.
At previously mentioned filling station.
It's like the Twilight Zone, isn't it?
My life's crazy, guys.
We get out of town about 2 miles, and the car we're in chugs, and slows down and stops. We stop.
Uh-oh.
Now what's wrong? We get out of the car and look around. And off to the right, down over there is where the old ghost town was at. And off to the right, from behind those buildings, 2 discs.
A disc?
Out from the buildings. They proceed right across in front of us, go over some low hills, and then go behind the hills, and they're gone. 2 of them.
Whoa.
Within seconds, there are jet fighters that are racing across the desert. You could hear them coming.
My what? Yo, mammy. Sir, I need your name for the... Yo, mammy, boy.
Jerry is telling a tall tale, Abu, he's my ride home.
Jerry's telling a tall tale, but he's your ride home. Even Hot Dog Cat doesn't believe this crap.
They were screaming across the desert.
And Hot Dog Cat is a gullible
Not very
dude.
high, maybe 200 feet off the
Not the
off
person who
floor.
sent that, but the Hot Dog Cat right there.
It
Thank
was
you.
really amazing to see. And they followed where the UFOs had gone. They were gone. Last we ever saw of either of them.
I could tell by his dull, expressionless face.
Got back in the car. It started up. We came back to Phoenix. At that point, it would again be another 10 years. And there weren't that many unusual things that happened. I led a rather ordinary life. You see, I was married to someone who didn't like...
No, you weren't. See, now I know you're lying, you motherfucker.
all of this. That didn't want to talk about any of this. Yeah, I got married in that period of time.
You know, that wife would hear him say this shit to like the neighbors and stuff, and she'd walk by and say, "Jerry, stop telling your stories." And he'd look down like a defeated douche.
And thought that I was being foolish if I were to relate any of my experiences publicly.
Everyone knows you're lying, Jerry.
And I figured that it was interesting. And if someone wanted to hear it, that's fine. And she said, no, people are going to think you want them to believe it.
She's
I
right,
don't
dude.
care if you believe it or not, I would say. Because it isn't important that you believe it. It's information. It's passing on details.
That means I'm just going to lie, because it doesn't really matter anyway.
Well, needless to say, the relationship didn't last. But another 10 years did pass. And
I put I put her in several different suitcases across the country.
end of that next 10 years, there were a few events that took place that were, again, quite unusual. It was the middle of the night.
The
And
nastiest
there was
of
an
dumps.
amber-colored light that we could see down the hall towards the front room.
Oh shit!
And it was dim, and then it was bright.
Sounds spooky.
And the next thing you know, she was worried and afraid and got up, and then she came back like she was in a trance, laid back down in bed, said, "It's nothing," laid down, and went to sleep. But I could still see the light. So I laid there
But
watching
she couldn't see it. Only I have light-seeing powers.
this. The light dimmed down again, and it was like in between the blinks of an eye, there was a man standing in our room. And there was just enough light
He was pleasuring himself to my wife, and she wasn't a looker.
from this dim amber light just down the hall that I could see his face, barely, and his stature. And I recognized him. His name was Zoe.
Hanford. Oh,
He was the one who I'd spoken with all those years ago when I was a teenager. He had shown up and he wanted to have a discussion.
now he was staring at my wife's sleeping butt cheeks.
So we talked. What we talked about at that point, again,
What was better, the 360 or the PS Triple?
was a life-changing event. He told me that there were some things that I needed to know.
About telling us a story about getting a job.
That they
a
were
three-way?
very concerned, they being him and the others that he was affiliated with, that they were very concerned that it would have an emotional
About him taking upskirt photos.
impact on me, that it might be damaging to my psyche. And I said, what kind of information could this be? And I felt very strong inside. He said, well, your mother is going to die in 2 months. And when she dies, there's going to be information that is going to surface.
Uh-oh.
And it's about you being adopted. How do you feel about that?
Oh, Tekken 2, man. Tekken 2 better than Tekken 3.
And I said, well, I don't look like anyone in that family. None of them have the characteristics that I have. They're so
They look like normal people, and I look like a big goof.
different from me. It's actually a relief. He says, but your mother is going to die in 2 months. And I said, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
If she dies, she dies.
But I never really felt like she was my mother.
Oh, you show a little more emotion than that, stroke face.
He says, all right, then I need to tell you the rest.
Oh.
From that point forward, he related to me where my origins begin.
Tekken 3 didn't have the kickboxing guy. And that sucks. Thank you.
Who I am, and in part, what I've been doing here all this time. This place is a planet that's not smaller or larger than Earth. It's similar to Earth. It's a place called Lanulos. And it
I
orbits.
wish I lived in Lanulos. I want to go to Lanulos.
It's a star. Here, the star is called Tau Ceti. It's a place very much like this place. It has seasons. It has cold areas and warm areas.
It has 360s.
It has people
PS3s.
just like you. It's just a different place.
I never played Tekken 4.
In the history that they had taught me about humankind and the people of this world and so forth, it was very clearly shown to me how people on this world didn't originate here. They were brought here. And they weren't brought here like, hey, come on, you're going to have to go or else.
I want to go.
People came here because they wanted to.
I want to go to Lanulos.
Because it was another place. Another outpost of humankind. And really, you're not human. But that's a whole different subject.
Hey, fuck you. You're not human, you big goof. You big stroke-faced alcoholic goof.
A whole different story. You've been led to believe you are. But we'll call it humankind, so we have a point of common reference.
You mean what an awesome story.
People like yourselves exist on many worlds out there in the cosmos. You don't know this because that information's been kept from you. But he went on to tell me that part of the reason why I was brought here
was to make a giant fool of yourself. So here I am.
You see, I'm not unique in that respect. It isn't just that I was brought here and so that makes me special. It doesn't. You were brought here too in some past generational scheme.
Makes sense to me.
You see, there were a lot of people who were brought here as
See,
children.
then I would love Tekken 3.
And the reason is quite simple. The last time there were things that were going to happen on this world, well, there have been a few things that have happened. But the last time there was an attempt to alter human consciousness was a few thousand years ago.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
And there were not just the good guys, the people with good intentions towards humankind, but there were also the bad guys, those who were not very friendly at all and had other ideas.
Like Shredder and Skeletor and Mumra.
So they tried to alter the way people can see themselves and understand the world around them. And in doing so, they directly interfered. When they interfered,
And then the
religions
alien gave me a long, sloppy, passionate smooch.
were born on both sides of the equation. This group interferes and they bring a message of peace, love, hope, and charity.
Oh, the good stuff.
So the other group comes along and they interfere just as overtly.
Loverboy and Air Supply. They're fucking huge in Lomulos. They still tour.
And they bring a mission with them that tells, this is how you should live your life, and this is the structure, and if you don't, you die.
Whoa.
Somewhere in time, this became cross-pollinated.
What the fuck are you talking about?
And in cross-pollination, you now have a very severe attitude among those who are psychopathic, who are wanting to achieve states of power, to achieve dominion over those who would listen.
On Lomulos?
And then they would have their colony. This is a very complicated thing to go into. But what it matters most to you is that
On Lomulos, you can also fart through your dick.
who you are as
Who said that? Someone said that a long time ago. It's so
was
stupid, it makes me laugh every time.
diffused. Your understandings about who you are diffused.
Oh, okay.
Your history, your true history, that goes back a very long time, obfuscated,
And involves many karate gis.
hidden away. Because if you knew, you would be much more powerful than you are now. You wouldn't be individuals, you would be a community. And that would be dangerous to the people who are in power.
Space pizza.
So what Zoe was telling me is that there were a number of people like myself who were brought here, and that in their times past, when they came and tried to help and they put these pieces in place, religions sprung up, and now they were considered gods. That couldn't happen again.
That's right.
The message was lost, but the messenger received the light and the attention.
Even Lomulos gives money to Israel?
The message can be rewritten by those who hold the power.
Didn't Balki come from Lomulos?
The messenger can become an icon. That couldn't happen again. Instead, their plan this time was to enlist the help of various other communities out among the stars who would allow for one of their children to be brought here,
Oh, shit.
to live here, to mature here, and endure all the same things that the people who are born here would endure. You would learn to eat hot dogs and bratwurst and drink beer, smoke cigarettes, listen
He
to
does all these things.
really loud music, learn how to dance badly. But you would also learn what it's like to be in a community of people who are just like you. And you would be just like them.
But I can't stand me. I don't want to live in a community of me's. I would jump off the roof.
The difference would be you did not start here. And when the time came and there was something that could possibly be done to help, it would not be help coming from the
Dennis
ETs.
Ramsey?
It would be someone standing by your side, just like you, who says, I think I know a better way. I have a different idea about this.
Really?
Maybe I can point you in a direction. And there would be something slightly different about them, of course.
See, this guy did his fucking alien public speaker mind trick. 'Cause now I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about anymore. Like you get the first part of it, and then he just starts yapping, and you're like, what are you saying?
They are different. They can't help but be. And so that's how the plan was enacted and carried out.
Yeah, but they got the kickboxing guy.
There were
in
many
Tekken
of us
3 there.
brought here to countries all over this world. I just happened to land in the United States in a farmhouse back in the hills of Kentucky. But there are others.
You know this guy used an outhouse. Definitely.
Some of them have yet to make their presence known. Others you might recognize if you knew who they were for sure. You might have actually some idea who they might be if you look at their actions. Because these people have no intention to become figureheads or icons.
Okay, dude.
They simply want to bring information forward and to show that there are other potentials, that there are other ways, and the world can become more successful if, as a community, we work together.
Bet you this guy's a lot of fun if you're both drinking. Attend to aliens that did this and that.
Zoe wanted me to understand this before he left. And he gave me another...
I gave people ample warning that this video was going to be painful, okay? There is no UFO photo.
piece of advice.
This is painful.
You see, my birthday
But I need
is
to get it
September
off.
11th.
Get it off the waiting list.
And he always told me that my birthday was very, very special. Never
Oh.
forget it.
September 11th, guys.
He said there's going to come a point in time when the people of the world will be directed in one place or another. And in being directed,
Well, you could have said something about that September 11th thing before it happened, you know?
those choices will be made that will carry the world forward in either a direction of peace or war. Remember your birthday.
Dennis Ramsey. Someone should tell Dennis Ramsey that he's from Lomulus.
It seemed a bit ominous when I was 17, and it seemed a bit uncomfortable when I was 38. I didn't really understand the dynamic that comprehensively until September 11th and the World Trade Centers came down. And at that point, suddenly I understood.
Dude, you were probably like fucking 50 when World Trade Center came down.
The world had made a move, and it was not in a direction towards peace. It was to the contrary. Since that point in time, there have been very few contacts. There was a
Well,
period
you
of
could have showered more.
time of a few years in South America, and I'll be going into this, I think it's tomorrow, when I discuss and tell you about some of the events in South America that I have witnessed or heard about.
A lot of beheadings. Mostly
There's a group
beheadings.
of Pleiadians that became friends of mine, and they knew who I am.
The Palladians, too. I'm sure the Palladians are like, no, this guy is even too much for us. Don't bring us up.
We had conversations over the course of several years.
Yeah, what'd you talk about, dude?
And there were encounters with other life forms.
We had conversations for several years. Doesn't tell you, not one conversation. Oh, you guys wouldn't understand. You're not even human, he says.
The ones that are the short gray ETs with the big dark eyes that don't seem to have your best interests at heart.
Oh, shit, the Greys.
And these, I'm not sure what they are or who they are. And I should know, but I don't. All I know is that they're not very friendly.
They are the Blue Razians.
They don't seem to have a very good grasp on what it's like to be frightened. There were a few instances when
He might have been.
I was approached in a very surprising way by them. And
Yeah, the aliens came by this guy and said, "Hey, dude, you party? How much you charge?"
when this happened, I threatened them not to do that again.
Horse fucking.
You see, one of the things that was provided to me,
You see, I'm very tall, so my tall stature is more than enough to handle the penile thrusts of your average horse.
during the time of those contacts in my teen years,
Microbear gourmarians?
something was done so that these individuals no longer had the ability to do mind entrainment on me. It works for just a few seconds and then it stops. To give you some idea what that means, if there were one of those beings here now, as many folks as there are in this room, they could instantly cause you to think that you were looking at, and then fill in the blanks. It could be a man, a
Oh, there could be aliens in here right now.
woman, an animal, a clown. As soon as you look at them, they have you. And they'll cause you to see whatever it is that they want you to see. And you can't stop it.
You might be onto
Not
something.
until they release you. Mentally release you.
You think aliens are watching this right now?
And if there are more than one of them, and there usually are,
And now you're saying the feathered, frothy locks are protecting against the mind beams?
then there'll be
You guys are
several
onto
of these
something.
characters. And you will find yourself eventually asleep, and you'll find that they have
Cord
done
your
something
asshole
with
out.
you.
Yeah, they cord my asshole out.
Not sure what. Some people say that they put little tags on humans. Well, they do. Part of the other thing they do is they
Bully this guy.
like to harvest
Buttless.
humans.
Oh.
The sperm and the ovum.
Oh, no.
You see, on other worlds, these beings are also interested in the resources of other worlds, and they use
Leave my sperm alone, aliens.
people there to do the heavy lifting,
Hey, get a carton of eggs from that bitch down there.
to do the work. So they harvest what they need here, and they take the babies there, grow them, and these children become adults, and these adults see these creatures as gods.
Whoa.
And you can see evidence that that's happened here as well. It isn't unique to
This guy took some loose loads to the face.
the
You know that.
worlds any more than it is unique for this one. You hear about cattle mutilations and black helicopters and all
blackest
forms of
helicopters.
strange and somewhat scary things in this regard. That's them. And you might say, well, why don't our governments protect us against them?
Because they can't. They're too powerful.
Our governments cannot protect us against them because they hold the power.
He almost said word for word.
To give you some idea,
Oh, here we go.
if they wanted to, they could open a doorway, and I use that term figuratively, but it's like a rip in the fabric of space. They could open a doorway and just appear
Much like the rip on the back of my pants.
right here, and instantly you would be looking at them and you would just not even be able to blink.
Portals.
They would do what they want, then they would leave, you would blink, and it's like no time had passed. Our governments can't protect you against that
Not even Drumpf?
any more than they can protect the people in the governments from having it happen to them.
should
You wonder
be
why
spooked.
things are so terrible. It's because these are the people who are in control.
Yeah,
They
Trump.
run this world. They have for a very long time. They and others like them.
He looked down at Hot Dog Cat when he said others
So-
like them.
The reason why many of us who are here is to help you understand some of these things. Not that it's to change your mind or get you to believe anything, but to just give you information.
Well, that's good because I'm not believing any of this shit, dude. None of it.
The other part of this,
I believe you were born in Kentucky. That's the only thing I believe.
if you do believe, then it's time to stop believing and know. Because there's a big difference between believing and knowing.
Yeah, well, how about you tell us one of them Palladian conversations? Just one.
But the only way that you're going to know is if you find within yourselves what resides there. That spark that's there.
That's a good point, Gubbo. I didn't think of that.
Now, you might be a person who's a mechanic, or you work on computers, or you might be a farmer, or you might be a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever, fisherman perhaps.
Or a back alley bum.
Doesn't matter what you do. What's really important is who you are. But in order for you to know,
All right, we got to speed this guy up now.
then you have to come to terms with a few ideas
Oh, you're
that
normal now.
reside within me and reside within you. I know these things about me, but I want to help to show you these things about you.
Oh, we're going to learn. We're going to have some self-discovery, guys.
Being from another world is not nearly as important as being from this one. 'Cause
Yeah,
this
that
is
was,
where the troubles are.
yeah, Lomulus fucking sucks.
Being from somewhere else, I was from somewhere else before I arrived here a few days ago. It wasn't that big a deal to be from Arizona. It shouldn't be that big of a deal to be from another planet.
He's
It's
right.
just another place. The big deal is that we are here now, and we have the potential to know ourselves, finally. To discover
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about traveling from other planets, but do you really know yourself? That's the real question.
that bit of truth that resides within ourselves, that gives us a link that goes back a very long way. It leads us on a path that takes us to the stars,
A journey.
that moves us into another light, that moves us into a place where once we know ourselves, we're no longer disempowered, but we become empowered.
Oh.
Individually, we're like the old thing I saw in a movie once. You know, the one where they have a straw. You know what a straw is, like straw from the field. And they have one straw and bends it over and breaks it. But you put together 100 straws, and it's very difficult to break.
A mighty agate.
It's that way. Maybe even more powerful. Because
Whoa.
you see,
We have all the power.
there is something called synergy. With a straw, you don't have synergy, you have mass. And the greater the mass, the more power it takes to cause the mass to change. With synergy, the greater the mass, well,
Synergy,
the
guys.
synergistic aspect of this becomes 1,000 times greater, perhaps. Maybe more. Think of it this way.
You're not saying
Have
anything.
you ever bent a spoon, just focused on it and caused it to bend over?
Yeah, I do that all the time, dude.
Anyone here? There's someone? Another? Anyone over here? Yes? All right. If you haven't, then just imagine it for a moment so you understand this concept. You have a spoon, you focus on it, it bends over. Pretty much just like that. Effortlessly.
Yeah, isn't synergy like a shitty corporate term? That's what like corporate douchebags use.
Heavy spoon. What if everyone in this room could bend a spoon? Just like that, and do it by yourself. But you decided that, what's the big scary thing? Ebola.
How am I going to eat my beefaroni if I end up bending all my fucking spoons? Jerry.
You've heard about Ebola, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Imagine if everyone here could bend a spoon. This is the synergy. What if everyone said, we don't need this Ebola crap anymore?
Yeah,
Let's
fuck you,
just
Ebola.
use all of our energy together and focus and just get rid of it. You can do that.
No.
Everyone is looking for a mechanical means to defeat the issues. Got to go through a mountain, you're going to need to have a big hammer. But that's not how it was done in ages past.
How was it done?
Not necessary to do it that way now.
They headbutted it back then. They headbutted the mountain. Beefaroni sounds
The
so
synergistic
good.
approach is to combine the energies of who you are and to apply that in one single formidable thought to effect a change. This is something that I possess. This is my work as a healer.
Now you're a
It's also
healer?
something you possess as well. It's not unique to me. It's only unique because I can show you how it's done, that it's possible.
What about
and that's
aliens?
what you need to see.
Now you have
But
psychic
it isn't
powers?
unique to me. You also possess these same traits. I might recently have come from another world. Recently, 60 years or more. But you did too.
Shut
And the
up.
same
You're 60 years old. It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
aspect of creation that runs through me that causes me to work on a person with a bad shoulder or back or terrible cancer. And changes occur. Amazing changes. That same energy runs through you as well.
Oh, okay, dude.
And that's part of the reason why Zoe came to see me that last time.
Like Zozo, the evil demon criminal spirit?
Is to let me know that the time is now. That we can change the things that we don't agree with,
That's a
that are
good
frightening,
question.
that threaten us.
Yeah, why don't aliens do shit about Africa?
And there are others who are like me, maybe some of you in the audience, maybe some of you who are watching.
Yeah, Pizzozo.
And all you have to do is just stand up and be counted. Be who you are, not who you've been told you should be. So I'll open the floor to questions at this point,
Oh,
and then we'll go a little step further from that.
no, not questions.
Any questions? All right, there are no questions.
I love that shit.
All right, there are no questions. All right, there are no questions. Yes.
Hey, dude, can you listen to the question you're asking before you ask it? Will I give you the opportunity to go back to your home planet? Yes, Melmac is waiting. He's going to go back to Melmac.
So the question is, do I have an opportunity to go back where I came from? The answer is I've been given the opportunity a couple of times, and I've declined both times. And the reason, you know,
I miss Melmac, but this is my home now.
this is a place that's worth the time and effort. The people here are good people, really. And there's no reason to leave. If I left, what would I do? You know, I mean, what would I do? If I left, it would be because I was afraid, or I'd given up. I'm not afraid, nor have I given up.
Yeah.
I have hope, and I believe. I don't know yet, but I believe that the best is yet to come. So I have not decided to leave. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You had a question? I can't understand you.
She asked how many dedicated Wham for the Dovo.
I'm so not.
non-fat Latina planet? What a treat.
No, I mean, if they are working in my hands, and I don't know. The nun just said you can take.
I don't know how much dedicated wham you would need. The aliens didn't tell me that one.
I don't know what it means. Also, my youngest daughter had screamed up and that shit.
Oh, the implants.
I can show you.
Sure, we're talking about implants, and she's asking me, I think,
Ma'am, I think your titties are just fine. I would not suggest getting implants.
what I can say about this. Is that right? To get rid of them.
Recommended.
But I'm wondering, what do you think about them that I have much trouble at my house, and I'm alternative and very open, and I don't like to.
Well, that's, you know,
All right, lady, finish up with your fucking question.
that's what I'm getting as well. Well, you know, there have been several instances where I've encountered mostly women, only one man, women and their children. Usually it's a female child that are tagged and are visited frequently.
See, these guys are talking to their bases. You know what I mean? They know bitches love fucking these alien talks for some reason. So they always say, these bitches, they're real special. The guys just don't get it.
It's very disappointing when this happens. Usually I get involved. There's a way of changing these things. It doesn't have to be like this. So, consequently, I'm not trying to make you a promise I can't keep, but if you would like, I'll take a look and see if there's something I can do to change it, I will. If you don't want these people bothering you, then they shouldn't bother you.
Yeah, just let me dial up to Palladians.
I am not so sure because I have got money gift from God.
I like when these alien guys talk to someone and ask them a question about similar shit. The look on the aliens guy's face is like, oh man, this person's crazy. I'm just lying up here for a paycheck. This bitch is doing it for free. Yeah, exactly, Jeff. They're like, you're crazy, dude.
Much now because I write a book of my life, and my life is very difficult, and angels and everything.
All right, lady.
I know everything's happening and when it's happening. So,
Quiet.
and I cry out to God and
I wish this lady would shut up.
away from me.
I'm hungry.
Well,
I should not.
My feet hurt. I wish I was home. This place sucks. My favorite Hot Pocket is waiting for me at the hotel room. And I gotta listen to this.
mm-hmm.
And I also had prayed to God and say, I'm so sorry.
Well, perhaps we can talk more.
Or perhaps not, right, dude? You could just run after this is over. Imagine seeing a 6'9" dude running out of some like shitty fucking place where he's at, and then some little bitch following him. But the aliens, the palladiums.
Maybe it was... I have no idea.
Ma'am, if you don't shut up, I
would
will
have to look
shut
to
you
see.
up.
We shall. Any other? You're welcome. Any other questions?
No more questions from you
Yes.
for the rest of the night. Oh shit!
You said that there was a change in direction about 9/11 when in the World Trade Center, and that have you lost the contact, physical or mentally, after that, or is it still continuing?
No, the contact that I have continues. It is not the same as it was before.
Have you ever stuck your wiener in a horse's
Did it
ass?
change?
Every 10 years they would come to see me, and now it's at a different interval.
But is it still the same kind of information and what you are going to tell the world or us?
All right, dude. Let's choke slam that guy. Enough's enough.
An audience.
Well, the information that they gave me is the information I'm telling now.
All right, look,
The
I'm going to
information
skip
hasn't
the
changed.
fucking
They
question
gave
and
me
answer.
information that when in incident,
Enough of
you'd have
that.
nothing to fear. So these are aspects of
You're an
how
aspect.
to maintain
Oh,
a level of awareness so you're not manipulated. And it
That's
isn't just
right.
the Greys who are attempting to manipulate you.
Fucking Greys.
There are others out there as well. And they certainly don't have your best interests at heart.
Hanford.
Other questions? Any comments?
No, no.
Yes.
Noted 4 words, peace, love, hope, and charity.
Yes.
Through your communication, have you sensed any kind of negative aspects? These are positive.
Any negative aspects from the folks that I was talking with?
No, they're cool dudes.
Yes, there was apprehension and concern. See, one of the things that as I've gotten older, I've reflected back on these events,
That didn't happen.
and it sounds very pleasant and altruistic from how they presented themselves to me. Very nice, very friendly, we want to help you, blah, blah, blah. But how is it that they would know the things that they knew? They showed me
fuck you.
images.
Oh, images.
From the future. How could they do that? They told me things that were going to happen. How would they know that? And they had a
In the future, they will have boards that hover off the ground and shoes that tie themselves.
concern that if things didn't happen in such a way that it was going to become very ugly. How would they know that? So while on the surface, these contacts seemed to be beneficent and pleasant, there was something beneath the surface that wasn't.
Shut
And I
up!
think it was concern. Because whatever they saw in the future, however they managed the future, and I think I understand what they did. I don't know how they did it, but I think I understand what they did. I think they knew things were going to go very ugly. And they moved back through time to try and set the course in a different path.
What does that even mean?
And I don't think it worked. I don't know why it didn't. Maybe it worked a little. Some of the things that I've seen have not taken place.
All right.
Other things,
All right, let's skip ahead. I don't want no more questions. There we go. The question time is over. I can't take any more of those questions.
probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years earlier. Pretty much everything that we put out information about, Brian Forrester then puts out information about it. The people that were there were not from this world. What we discovered is that there are plates in the skull. Some of their heads were wrapped, but not all of them.
Rap
There
domes?
are some that were truly unique, and they were a completely different race. And these people have a different bone structure in their head. But if you look at Secrets of the Sand, you can see some of those details on that video of ours. It's for free. It's on the internet. You can watch it anytime.
Oh, Secrets in the Sand?
HD and stereo. What was your second question? I'm sorry. Oh, the difference between our people and the people.
No, my second question was, how did your eyeballs get so far apart?
It's as different as a regional difference between places here on Earth. What are the differences between people in Norway and people in the deep south of the United States? Quite a bit. But between the Pleiades and the people of my world, it's just a cultural difference, really. You have different climates in these places, and you have different food and a different philosophy on life in some ways.
They have peanut butter and jelly hot pockets on Lomulose.
And the first question was? That was one of the things that was kept from us, was being able to recognize each other.
Fetal alcohol
It was later related to me that people have a tendency to collect with each other. You see, during the time that we were
Yeah,
in
you
our...
see my fucking, what the fuck are those called? Funko Pops.
teen years was the time, in the United States anyway, when the Vietnam War was winding down.
Fed smoker
There was
would
a
be
lot of
interesting.
people in the hippies and the peace movement, and a lot of folks were wanting to get out of the establishment and get into something much different. Because we had unique abilities, whether it was intellectual or psychic, I suppose what they
psychic
figured
too?
they would do is they would keep us from recognizing each other, so we didn't come together as a collective and then just decide to leave society completely. Because I think that if we hadn't recognized each other during those days, we would not have had the wisdom to have made a choice that would have kept us on our task. Instead, we would have gotten together and said, this is crazy, this world is insane.
I pray to Shiva, let me die, but I do
Since
not.
that time, I recognize a few here and there, but the older I get, the more I understand that it isn't important. The only thing that's important is that we understand.
Dude, you're 60. Do you want to die with all this crap? You want to die with all this crap in your dome? All the lies, all the horse shit? Don't you want to unload that? Yeah, I was lying about everything.
Who we are to ourselves. How the world sees us should be a true reflection of what we see within ourselves, not a mask that is here because someone gave it to us and this is what we're supposed to be when we're out in the world at large. There's a lot of that in the States. I don't know if it's here, but I suspect that it's everywhere. Finding who you are and becoming that, only that, is the greatest gift you can give to yourself.
What about the underground
it's the
tunnels?
greatest gift that you can give to the rest of the people who you might encounter.
Love yourself.
Just being you. Does that answer your question? You're welcome.
How come all these alien guys have the same philosophies of life as a 600-pound woman?
Yes, ma'am.
Love yourself.
Thank you.
No, I've never stuck my wiener in a horse's ass. Yes, many people confuse me for Michael Bolton. Practice self-care. the Lomulans. This guy just went to Norway for the fucking easy hookers.
Well, that would be beautiful.
I love the hookers in Norway. That's right. You gotta love yourself, Jeff MK.
Well, that's a state of awareness that we're talking about. And what she's saying is that she has had experiences with reptilians and the Greys.
You can't just say it like that. Oh, yeah, I just did a reptilian.
And through her own methods have devised a way to keep herself safe and secure and to keep them away from her. Yes? And she's going to share that information with this beautiful lady.
You put a pound of raw hamburger in your snatch, and the reptilians don't want to come near you.
Any other questions? Yes. Yes. Yes, we've been looking for portals.
To the nether realm. Yes, I have been to the nether realm.
I'm having trouble hearing you specifically. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, well, there's one called Breadamabob. I'll be covering part of that story tomorrow. And it is a portal. It's kind of difficult to explain. According to Dr. Michio Kaku, it is a type of bidirectional wormhole. But I'll go into that in more detail tomorrow because I did manage to turn it on, and it was staggering. Yeah, I didn't like it. Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you for coming. Him and the museum guy, the museum tunnels guy, in a Tardbunker. The portals are in South America. Where else would a portal be? Hide lemons.
That's a very good thing. Good question, good statement. Yes, I have something to say about that.
Uh-oh.
You know, when you consider who you are,
a righteous dude,
maybe it's time to consider actually who you really are, not who you appear to be.
Are you saying I'm not a righteous dude?
Other people think you are, or when you look in a mirror, what you see. Because you look in a mirror, you see all the flaws, right? I do. Look at this, all these flaws.
If you asked him about piss magic, he'd say, piss ain't for magic, it's for chugging. Blood sports buttars.
And who you consider yourself to be. Who do you think you are? And you say your name, and you see yourself, I recognize myself. These are my hands. And your friends, wouldn't they be surprised if they saw you as someone different?
Totally. Ducking
or your husband, or your daughter, or your son, or whatever. The point is that we become who others expect us to be. And in doing this...
All right, dude, we get it. You're a hippie. I ain't going to be what the system tells me, man. I'm going to go up and travel the country in other countries and lie about Palladians and aliens. Because that's what I want to be, Mom and Dad.
We slightly alter ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because it's necessary in a society to slightly shift one way or the other.
I'm not a conformist.
When you're wanting to protect yourself against these cosmic forces.
Ladies, I will have to smell the seats after you exit the building to detect for traces of Palladian.
The bad guys, or the evil, or the darkness, or whatever. Quite often we look outside for some support. Some people are looking
just say
for
it's all
God
about love,
out there.
Dude. Wrap it up.
Some people are praying to God out there. Some people are going, I need to bring the light in. I need to bring in the white light. How many of you do that? And it's fine. But I think it's time to now take another step forward. Take a step, one more step a little higher than where you've been.
Right.
God isn't out there. You can't find God out there anyplace. I've looked. You find God here. And if you go looking for God in this direction, inside, you find yourself, and you eventually find God. But you can't tell where the boundary lines are, because where you are and where God is, there are no set places.
Here comes the new age horse shit.
It's all a mixture. And that's why you can look at yourself in a mirror and point to yourself when you're looking in the mirror. You say, God lives here. Because that's where you find God first. I don't know what God is. I've been trying to figure this out for a very long time. Never come to a resolution on this at all. In other worlds, they have their own ideas about what God is.
You'd think you could figure out everything with that giant meat dome. What a noggin. You know, they say you're supposed to fit 3 heads on your shoulders. One, well, for a girl it's different, but for a dude, you're supposed to be able to fit another dome on each side of your head. But his head is so big. He's like got broad proportions.
But it all comes down to the same thing. It's a presence.
Look at that meaty dome.
So God lives here. And this is something they taught me. So it isn't unique from me.
His head is almost as big
This
as
is part
Becky's.
of their philosophy, let's say. So you're wanting to protect yourselves. You want to bring the light, and you want to be protected with the white light around you, right?
And I'm not talking
Or
about
the
his
violet
hair. You could shave that dome, and that's still a big, beefy dome.
light, or whatever kind of light there is. Why not just be who you are?
It looks like when you see those washed-up wrestlers do like a podcast. Yeah, I wrestled Andre the Giant in '86. Yeah, he was a real jerk. He didn't like me. Becky head is fucking huge.
Become the light. And all these things that are out there that are frightening and disturbing, and the grays that are coming and they're trying to do something to you,
Becky's definitely one.
they have also a connection to the Creator, to whatever God is. If God lives here and you become the light,
Andre the Giant held me down, and Sparky Puck stuck his thumb in my ass. I sued, but no one would listen.
you no longer have to worry about the darkness coming close,
This guy's a huge dome.
because there isn't any darkness. There's your presence. And it doesn't make you great, and it doesn't make you famous, and it doesn't make you any more special than you already are. But what it does do is it allows the people who see you to understand
Sparky Plug, the greatest wrestler ever.
and to find it within themselves. You light the path for others just because of being here.
It does look like the guy from Ghostbusters.
You're never going to be perfect, and you're never going to walk this path without stubbing your toes or falling down once in a while. I've done plenty of that, and I'm not
Sure, I've molested a few hitchhikers, but I eventually found my way.
from here. So,
Dude,
of
the
course, it
dumpster
happens to
goes.
everyone. No one is perfect. We all have our issues.
One time I had to wrestle Man Mountain Rock, and boy did he stink.
But when you realize who you are, and then you live as though that were the truth of your existence,
Oh, he's eating well.
then the light that you give off is the light everyone else is looking for and hasn't quite found yet. And it's not your light they're looking for, it's their own. They just don't know it. You want to do great things? You want to keep these things from bothering you? It's awareness. As I said before, it's confidence.
All right. All right, you've been saying
But
this.
it's confidence in you and awareness of who you are.
What does that have to do? I came. I paid money to hear about aliens, not confidence. I don't. You're not Tony Robbins. I'm Tony Robbins with aliens. No, I'm skipping ahead. I told you this video was painful. But I've been sitting on it because I'm like, man, this is really bad. This is really bad. Come on. Work. Work, you turd. Now it won't work.
Sheep walking around the field, or a bunch of ants crawling on the floor to be stepped on. They haven't any compassion, any caring, and they don't seem to have any desire to improve their view. And there are others who are out there who don't care one way or the
Payne's
other.
career.
Live or die, doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Man Mountain Rock could play sweet guitar licks.
It's just a fascinating thing to see. So the motivation you find in the universe, typically, motivation is either created as a view of service to self or of service to others. And at some crossroads in there, in a balanced society, you find that there are those who exist with a foot in each world. That's where we are in this world. Service to self, service to others, and we try to vacillate between the two.
You're not
in order
talking
to
about
find a
aliens
common ground
anymore.
Within ourselves. That's the separated aspect of one human to another. When it comes down to a connective and collaborative approach,
I've been drinking. I really don't care.
it will go in one direction or the other more severely, depending upon the
All right,
attitude
one
of
more
those involved.
skip ahead because I'm tired. He's got to change topics. This guy, it's terrible. You got to stop, dude. Talk about aliens. I came here for aliens. Well, you see, it's really about self-confidence. It was never about aliens at all. It's about being yourself, not what society wants you to be. I'm 60 years old, and I still haven't figured this out. Come on, you fuck.
Especially after the things that I've seen.
What have you seen?
So, no, I don't think that it's just an object. I think it's actually an observation point for whomever it is that wants to watch at any given time. Yes?
Space junk? Dude, this guy doesn't know shit about space, alright? Well, I think they should pick up the space junk.
Yeah. Well,
I know, but I thought his dumb head would make for a fun laugh. But now he's just going on too
and there are
long.
things out there orbiting the Earth that still are quite old. Have you heard of something called the Black Knight? For you who haven't,
Yes,
it's,
that was a
very
great Martin Lawrence movie.
strange craft that is in orbit around the Earth. It has been for a long time, and I know very little about it, except it's been there for ages. Yes?
I read somewhere once it was from the Atlanteans. Put it out there maybe a long time ago.
Yeah, it very well could be. In the Atlanteans.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Atlanteans. Can I go home now?
I tend to think that it was up there greater than 50,000 years ago. It's just a feeling that I have. It was never
You know
anything
what that
was
Black Knight thing is? It's a fucking seat. It's a seat that got unloaded from something. It's a chair.
mentioned to me during my contacts, so I can't really address it. But just a feeling
Is he
that
still
I
gonna
have that it's
fuck
quite old,
Huckster?
and I think that it's quite valuable for what it contains, the information that might be there, and the reasons why it is in place. Anyone else? Sure.
How advanced are the American dark organization out in space? Have there been other planets, other planet systems?
How advanced are...
Are what you call the black budgets?
Oh, the black... Oh, well, I have no idea how advanced they are, but...
His question. I mean,
Well,
I
yeah,
should have
of course.
ended it a
The
while
things
ago. 'cause
that
it's just
they're doing now are
questions.
about 20 years in our future.
All right, these are just
So-
questions. Let's go to the last 10 minutes, right? Let's do the last 10 minutes because I had enough of this guy. He's running in circles now. Let's hear him wrap it up. Because I just want to hear him say, "Hey guys, it's really all about love."
The photon. And it's thought that that's the causal agent in the universe to manipulate and control everything beneath it.
The Big
What we
Ropians?
call matter. Photons are part of that matter.
That's not true.
So when you want
I
to
don't
look at how you go from point A to point B out there through a wormhole to get from here to Mars or here to wherever, you're looking at an aspect that requires more than just rocket fuel and a lot of air to breathe and hope you have plenty of water you can recycle. Not to mention food. Instead,
You don't like his
it is a process
You don't like his southwestern style?
where the observer becomes the point where reality is challenged, manipulated, controlled, altered, and then reformed around the person who is observing.
I don't understand how people
And
don't
that's what I was
riot
saying earlier.
at these talks.
If you want to change the world, do it synergistically.
Oh, shut up.
Bend a spoon, great. Get together, change the world just by thinking.
It's all about
Because
love,
this
guys.
is an observer-based reality, and you are the observers. Does that help to answer your question?
No,
Super.
not at all.
Anyone else?
No.
All right, very good. One more person. Go right ahead.
Herf, 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 herf. Maybe that's Pick Rob.
You previously told us about your teachings involved Nikola Tesla workmanship, and I'm researching his work since many decades.
Not a researcher.
And my question is that actually his biggest inventions were the cold fusion and the zero-point energy. Either of them would dramatically change our world in a best way. Since there are other good guys amongst the ETs, would they help us to get these inventions? Because the American government just closed it down. Even according to many opinions, Tesla was assassinated. So maybe you have some information about the future.
No.
Will we have
Dude, if you're a researcher, you have to be more intelligent than that, all right? You could believe in aliens and all that crap you want, but you got to at least understand that this guy's full of shit and just there to take your money.
Chance to get
Why would you give this guy the time?
In this case, we will be detached from the oil-based, fossil-based energies. So
that's very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To answer it in a very brief way, there's going to be opportunities. And the people from out there?
No, Tesla.
Are they interested in seeing that we achieve this? Of course they are. They're not going to hand it to us, but they have handed us the details on how to discover it for ourselves.
What about Tesla?
You see, one of the things that they told me was that when you give somebody something of great value, it's appreciated, thank you very much, and it might be abused later because there was no wisdom involved in its creation. Nuclear energy was one of these situations.
All right. Okay. Save the whales, dude. We got it. This guy spoke about aliens for, 45 minutes and then went on his this bullshit self-improvement kick thing. I don't know. It was terrible. But I knew it was going to be terrible. And I warned you guys can't yell at me. I warned you guys this was going to be bad. No, this guy, no proof. Just a lot of hillbilly huckstering. And, that's what this Monday stream is all about. Hillbilly huckstering. All right, guys. Hey, I'll see you this Friday or something. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching all that. And hey, I'll see you later or something. Bye.